Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. What's going on, yo? What's going on? What's going on? I am Waffles. I've seen a couple of those videos, but actually, I really did watch the What's going on, Chef Roundtable? Mike Chef Roundtable. There we go. Um, so I did check out the Ole video. I actually spoke about that a little bit, not yesterday, but the day before. Um, and we're just gonna get to it. We're gonna get to the crash out. If y'all check out the links in the description, I know I didn't give y'all that much time, so shout out to the replay gang. Shout out to those of you that'll go back and listen to what Mr. Z posted, which you will see is Olay and friends talking about the Donald Trump victory, right? The Donald Trump win. You will see a link from Sarge Willie Pete speaking about the Donald Trump win. I'm going to probably link um what I am Waffles put here for us to watch. So we'll and you'll see Edward Anderson covering the kind of crash out from women over the Donald Trump victory and win, right? So why are we speaking about this? Why are we covering this? We're watching as women throw that adult temper tantrum that Mr. Z speaks about often. You're watching as black women in specific, some use this as another reason, another excuse to be misandric or be misandrist, better yet. Um, and we already knew that, black women in particular look for every excuse and reason to be misandrist. But with this, you see this in numbers. For the black men that did vote, the number is hovering around 80%. I'm seeing 78%, 79, 80, 81. So somewhere around that, right? So let's say anywhere between like 78 to 82% swing. So give or take, 4 out of 5 black men voted for Kamala Harris, even after being insulted by Barack Hussein Obama, former President Barack Obama, even after Sonny Holston called them crazy and ridiculous, even after Whoopi Goldberg essentially in her own way said, yeah, black men are used to us talking down to them and dictating to them and being condescending to them and telling them what to do. Even after all of that, even after the surrogates or the Magic Johnsons and all of these people, even after Steve Harvey pretty much told y'all, yeah, I'm here with softball questions, even after all of the snarky, sly facial expressions from Abby from CNN, even after all of that, even after Simone Sanders, all of these people with either their crazy facial expressions, their insulting ways, even after all of that, give or take, 4 out of 5 black men that did vote voted for Kamala Harris. And with that, you see a number of black women turn around and blame and insult black men. Even Miss Foster, oh, you better believe it. Even Miss Foster used this as an opportunity to not necessarily beat up on black men, but to kind of, once again, do her benign neglect of black men and boys. If I recall correctly, one of her subbies said something like, yo, black men weren't as bad, and she like pointed out one particular state or one particular area where black men didn't vote in line, right? It was maybe 40% of those people, black men in those states, voted for Donald Trump, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, of course, right? Exactly. And Trail says, shout out to NASIC. Negroes ain't ish industrial complex. Exactly. So we're covering this for the crash out. It's not to necessarily mock these people, make fun of them. I already gave my kind of lecture a couple days ago, right? Um, but we are covering the crash out because it emphasizes what we speak about here. Number one. Number two, more and more, and I'm gonna look for the links so we could give the appropriate links and people can read these things themselves. I kind of scrolled through a think piece article written by a white woman speaking about how Gen Z might be swinging more and more conservative as a generation, particularly Gen Z men. Of course, I want to be very clear. What did y'all expect? Gen Z young men had to live the consequences of being raised by baby mamas, white, black, and Latina mainly. Gen Z men had to watch their mom rip their dad up in divorce court. Gen Z men are the ones that are here trying to date and court your daughters who are entitled, spoiled brats, snarky, mean, condescending a-holes who are hiding character flaw behind college degrees. Gen Z men are the culmination of liberalism and white feminists having control of the education system and the social sphere. So your Gen Z men, particularly your Gen Z white men, remember this is the youngest cohort of adults in America, are giving their mothers, yes, you, dear middle class, middle America white women, your sons are giving you the biggest middle finger. Huh? Shout out to Armiose Frimpong that spoke about how the Democratic Party is essentially run by white women who only really care about baby deletion, right? They have boiled down everything into the Democratic Party essentially about baby deletion. I want to take that a step further and say about their sexuality. White women have turned the Democratic Party into the party of whether white women can have adult fun with other women or not, whether they can rack up as many bodies as humanly possible and not be called 304s, about delaying childbirth as long as humanly possible before Chisel Chin Chad no longer chooses her. Huh? And of course, baby deletion because she got prego from Chisel Chin Chad, but she know Chisel Chin Chad ain't about ish, and it is not going to help her raise that child. So she wants the ability to delete that child, that unborn fetus, unborn child. Finally settle, quote unquote, for the regular Smojo, 5'10", 5'9", 5'8" white dude who she's marginally interested in, and she's going to divorce within 5 to 10 years anyway. I forgot she's white. 8 to 10, 12 years, better yet. Huh? This is what this is about. And Passport OG, this is exactly what I'm speaking about. And Passport OG says, did Kamala even say Bernie's name once, Ralph Nader, or just baby smoothies or bust? Hysterical. Um, it was all about baby smoothies because she knew who she was talking to. It was all about because the dog whistle is really not about just baby smoothies. The dog whistle, which is hysterical, by the way, the dog whistle was about male rulership. Huh? That's what this is about. So you have a bunch of women across the board who are going to fisticuffs with each other. You have the conservative white women that are saying, hey, man, y'all better get back in line to the liberal white women. And the liberal white women are giving their mothers and their aunts the middle finger and their grandmas the middle finger. I said this the other day, I got to say it again. Dear white women, leftist white women, you cannot hold up the sky with liberal white women and liberal white men and a handful of men of color and a lot of women of color. You can't hold up the sky that way. You can't hold up America that way. It's not going to work. And your white sons resent you whether they say it or not. Ooh, goddamn Z, I said it. Your white sons resent you, or if even if they say it or not. If you don't believe me, go ask JD Vance. Ooh, ooh Z, ooh Z. Your white sons resent that you had them with their father. Oops. Your white sons resent that you divorced their father. Yikes. Your white sons resent that you're a baby mother. Ouch. Your white sons resent that you raised their sisters to be little snarky, entitled, insufferable a-holes. Oh, with more bodies than the goddamn morgue. Huh? Your sons resent you. Gen Z sons, white sons in particular, even some of the white millennial sons, oops, they resent you. Dear white women, all you white teachers, white female teachers, white female principals, white female superintendents, white female deans, huh? Your sons resent you. Even some of your college educated sons. Dear Kim Foster, stop hiding behind white college educated folks. You attended Harvard. You should know better. Huh? And even some of your daughters resent you. The sensibilities of white women. And we're watching the crash out of leftists, including obviously black women who may not even really be leftists. They just voted for the Democrats because white women told them to. Oops. Huh? These excuse me, black women that aren't really even truly leftist. They might vote Democrat. They might be registered Democrat. Are crashing out. Wait a minute, Z. Wait, Z. First, like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Secondly, Z, weren't you the one, Z, that said it's not going to be black men that put a foot up black women's ass? It's going to be white men? Uh-oh. Z, do you now want to describe how JD Vance and his ilk are about to put that foot all the way square up black women's rectum? Well, don't mind if I do. They're going to strip certain social programs. Oh, and they're going to strip it real nice. And it's going to hurt white women. Ooh, it's going to hurt them. It's going to force them to go back home to white men. And it's going to obliterate black women that are not attached to a black man, or any man for that matter, worth a damn. Huh? I suspect the goal here is to put men, white men in particular, on good footing, increase, or yeah, I would argue increase as much factory jobs worth a damn they can, right? Strip away college and university requirement for every little thing, increase trade schools, huh? To put white men on the footing to make 50 plus, 60 plus, 70 plus $1,000 a year, 80 plus $1,000 a year, right? And to make them quote unquote marriageable. And on the other hand, and I think all the child tax credits, I think they might still continue with those type of things. Um, you already hear about, because we know men are the ones who predominantly do overtime. So, not taxing overtime and all these other things that are going to, right, help men. I wouldn't be surprised if Trump comes in with his own version of the infrastructure bill that once again disproportionately benefits men. Huh? Why? Because the women have been so goddamn loud about the men not being on their level and who's marriageable or not, as if these women are marriageable. Huh? And so the Donald Trumps and definitely the JD Vances of the world said, I'll oblige. Huh? So I would argue the crash out is because the hierarchy is being reinforced again. White male rulership hierarchy. You know, I said this a little while ago. Maybe BGS remembers me saying this. Maybe some of y'all remember Z saying this. I can't remember if I said it on my own platform or on somebody else's platform when I was speaking about a channel called Then and Now. Then and Now, yeah, it's Then and Now. And um British dude, I want to say philosopher, and he covered Vladimir Putin, right, and Russia and Russian history. And he kind of gave this assessment about how in the West we take quote unquote progress for granted, right? This march forward, this constantly quote unquote progressing in a particular direction, right? Whether we in the Black Manosphere see it as progressing or progress or not, but moving in a particular direction. And there's this assumption that things will automatically always get easier. You will always have these technological advancements. You will always be liberalizing your society. You will always be quote unquote taking the shackles off of people, and affording people more and more liberties. Excuse me. There's this assumption of that. This is Mr. Z talking now. This is not him, but this is what I took from his think piece. And in Russia, they don't have this assumption. They don't see, they don't take this for granted. They don't take the technology for granted. They don't take quote unquote liberalism for granted, right? There's not this idea that, like Martin Luther King, the arc of history is long, but it bends towards justice. They don't have that in Russia. And quite frankly, I would argue in many different cultures and societies around the planet, right? And what I think you see with this crash out, and we can bring this back from the repeal of affirmative action. You can bring this back to the repeal of Roe versus Wade. Um, it's this rolling back of these things, and people who took for granted that, okay, we won that battle, okay, next we won the next battle, okay, next, what's next, what's the next mountain to climb, what's the next thing to conquer, we won that battle, we're rolling back the conservatism, we're rolling back, right, we're rolling back these people, we're pushing them back, and our victories are permanent. They took that for granted. They took that for granted. They took upward mobility for granted. They took the passage of time and winning these victories, whether small or big victories, they took that for granted, right? LGBTQ, excuse me, LGBTQ folks being able to get married, they took that for granted. They took for granted all of this. Affirmative action laws and Roe versus Wade, they took all of it for granted. And now that push, and you heard it, for those of us that did check out the JD Vance interview with Joe Rogan, you could see how he responds to TRANS and their lifestyle. Huh? You see the way he spoke about his wife, right? You look at the way he had that conversation or debate with that back and forth with Dana Bash off of CNN. Look at how he addressed the audience when someone asked him about what does he have to say about what Barack Obama had to say about black men and misogyny. White men are reasserting themselves. Huh? And because white men are reasserting themselves and they're going to yank that chain on white women, I said it as mean as I meant it. They're going to yank that chain on white women. And because black women, in many respects, are the mascot in the face for liberalism, women, right? X chromosome liberalism, because black women are the face of the middle finger towards men and men's leadership, and because black women love that position and they love playing that role, when Mr. Z said it's not going to be black men, it's going to be white men that put the foot in black women's rear end, that wasn't just a guess. And Mr. Z is not wishing that. I know it's going to happen, though. And for those of you that Mr. Z been saying that what for at least a couple years, way before JD Vance's name really blew up, way before people really thought that Trump was going to be able to make it out of all of these cases. I only been saying it for a couple of years. I've been thinking it for at least a decade. Huh? At least a decade. Right? And Kareen said something. Where is that comment from you, Kareen? Give me a second. Where is that comment? Oh damn. There we go. I can't understand why they even voted for her. She was incompetent. No real policy. Abortion isn't a policy. Abortion is states' rights. No states forbid it in the US. Yeah, right. I get it. It's freedom. In their mind, it's freedom. I can understand why for many women this is a thing for them. Bodily autonomy. Really, it's autonomy from you men. We know that's what they mean. They're never going to say it though. Well, let me take that back. Some will say it. They don't really appreciate when men hear that what we hear. Oh, you want to be autonomous. You know when we hear autonomous, that means we will slam that door in your face. That means we will watch you struggle with your groceries. That means we will watch you struggle with putting that luggage in the compartment on top in the airplane. We'll watch you have a dead battery and not help. No, when you say autonomous, what we hear is autonomous all the way. So elite conservative white men and some of their men of color acolytes and elite liberal white men and some of their men of color acolytes, they'll do the whole pandering to women and kissing their ass. Once you start coming back down to regular dudes, oh no, when we hear autonomous from women, because y'all being little snarky, mean a-holes, we hear all the way. There will be no community eunuchs. There will be no societal eunuchs. Dear ladies, that's hysterical, Trell. I ain't gonna highlight it, but hysterical and accurate. Uh-oh. So I get the crash out, and I get why for them, baby deletion is the ultimate symbol of quote unquote freedom. It's really negative liberty. right? I can appreciate it. I understand. Unfortunately for you, you live in a society. You know, when you listen to Ole speak and she speak about the selfishness of certain Americans and not really comprehending or really appreciating, and I'm paraphrasing what she said, like what you vote, who you vote for is bigger than just you. Your worldview is bigger than just you. And I agree with her on that. You should have been saying that to the women for, well, as long as you've been here. And I will give Olay that. She's not the worst. She's not the most antagonistic. I'll give her that. The women are crashing out because they can see some of these things that they thought were rights that were guaranteed potentially being rolled back. They don't get to live Sex in the City lives no more. Huh? They don't get to be little consumerist, materialistic a-holes where your husband says, "Oh yeah, I checked that bank statement and why do we have a zillion things coming from Amazon?" Huh? Do we really need this? Yeah, the women are throwing a temper tantrum. Yes, yes they are. Yes, they crashing out. Huh? Because two white men, and you know these two white men, you know what type of men these are. Trump is unabashed, right? Trump will buy a woman. Clearly. See, everybody focuses on the grab them by the vagina part of what he said when he got that recording of him being on that bus, right? Do y'all remember the context of what he was saying? Y'all remember him saying that he's bought furniture for women and all of this stuff and pretty much paid for the box outright? Huh? Ain't no smoozing. Ain't no R&B and simping. No charisma getting into the box. Nope. Here's the money. Hard transaction, pun intended. Yeah, the women are mortified. Dear black women. Ooh, Z, don't say it, Mr. Z. Gonna say it with rocket boosters on. Donald Trump is your standard white man. He just got a lot of money. JD Vance is your standard white man. He's just highly educated. Not these little liberal white dudes that y'all used to running into in New York, in Miami, in LA, in Chicago, in Dallas, maybe in Atlanta, in DC. JD Vance and Donald Trump is like almost every white woman has an uncle or grandfather like Donald Trump. Their dad may not, possibly, may not be like Donald Trump. Maybe, maybe. But every white woman got at least one uncle, one cousin that's their dad's age that's like Donald Trump. Tell the white women to be honest with you. They all have at least one close male sibling or family member, relative like Donald Trump. At least one. And Mr. Z said at least one. It's more than one. It's more than one. Huh? Uh-oh. I get the crash out. But y'all been lying to each other too much over there in the XX chromosome side of the game. White women lying to black women lying to white women. Y'all both envy each other, oops, for different reasons. Huh? Y'all both envy each other for different reasons, but y'all both lying to each other. And we'll pause right here for a second. And Cyrus Burke says, Z, I got a bookmark folder on Twitter X just for you, filled with all the crash outs and anti-black man posts I can find. Send it to me in my email. Send it to me in my email. Oh man. Yeah, they're crashing out. I get it. I get it. Right. Mr. Z's a bit cynical, so but I get it. I listen to Olay. I hear it in her. I hear it in the other young lady on her channel, Rebecca. I hear it. I hear it from foreign man in a foreign land. I hear it. I get it. Right. The clips that Ed played on his channel, shout out to Edward Anderson, they're terrified, as they should be. Dear black women, you still don't have to get on a black man's program. You still have every right to give black men the middle finger. But ooh, are you gonna struggle and starve even more now? Shout out to all the rich aunties. Was it on Edge Channel where he played the clip where the women were like, "Oh, we out here being rich aunties," and yawn? See those numbers. Most black women are not no goddamn rich aunties. Most single black women, as the article told us earlier this year, most single childless black women have 8 cents to the white man's dollar and are struggling. Shout out to the rich aunties though. Compassion says Z say he in his Afro pessimist bag. Give me a second. Z say he's in his Afro pessimist bag this morning. Compassionate. The question is, when isn't Z in his Afro pessimist bag? Right? That's the question. And Compassion says, Z, forward that to me. Okay, I will. I will. When Cyrus sends it to me, I'll send it. Right. And Dr. Dunbar says, "Good morning, Z. This is great. If Kamala would had won, this would be way in the opposite direction. It would have been a symbolic win for all of them and a reason to be even more insufferable." I agree. And Doc, let me say this also. It would have, and Black Uru spoke on this. It would have to them legitimated the way they speak to men, black men in particular. They wouldn't have to think twice. They wouldn't have to consider coalition building with the same black men that they think are mean, sexist, misogynist people. They would have been given the green light to continue down. I agree with you. Continue down this sexist, misandrist road. Now they have to reconsider. Reconsider, read some litter. Sure. Now they have to reconsider. Right. Oh, I got to read this. I don't know why I didn't look at this earlier. And once again, Cyrus Burke, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And Toya says, thank you, Toya, putting some Skrilla on it because Z matters. And shout out to Kareen. What's going on, Kareen, for real? And Skrilla. Oh, shout out to Kodak. Oh, man. That's hysterical. What's going on, Dr. T? I got the dogs in here. Oh, man. I'm humbled. Right. And we're just talking about the crash out. I'm not making fun of black women. I'm not poking them in the eye. I'm not necessarily making fun of white women either. I'm not poking them in the eye. I'm saying that the sensibilities of white women, and then this is what I was saying to Theo. Shout out to Theo Wolf. This is what I was saying to Theo on BGS's channel. What was that, last night or was that the night before? Black men are going to have to wrangle, for those of us on the left, we're going to have to wrangle the Democratic Party with the help of some black women. We're going to have to wrangle it out of the hands of these lame ass white women. Your standard issue Midwestern mom, your young white woman that all she cares about is catching bodies and deleting some. Oops. Deleting the unalive ones. Y'all know what Mr. Z is saying. Huh? Because if we do not, what you will have is them continuing to platform these type of people. Kamala wasn't a great candidate. We all knew it. Let me say this to y'all. When Mr. Z worked for the Florida Democratic Party, I watched people that came in the door as Bernie Bros reason to themselves why Hillary was a better candidate, and they were just being immature and childish for being Bernie Bros initially. I watched them reason to themselves. Mr. Z never was that person. I watched them reason to themselves. These are young folks. They're supposed to be full of energy and full of middle finger to the system and all. I watched them watch Hillary and the Democrats collude against Bernie, move Bernie out the way. And I watch young people, we're talking about 22-year-old, 23, 24, 25, 26-year-olds, reason why, okay, it may not have been right, but okay, and Hillary's a more serious candidate, and that. I watched these folks do this. So if this is 2016 we're speaking of, what we're seeing is in 2024, nearly a decade later, you watched people do this again. And you heard shout out to Rebecca and to Ole. They both spoke on it. And you can see Ole's kind of beating herself up for low-key falling for the hype over Kamala. Knowing better, but still, right? And I want to say something very clear, and Ole actually made a good point on this. You see these people who have they're ideologically on the left, but whether Trump is in office or Kamala is in office, it really won't damage them that much. They're doing pretty well off in life. They're making pretty good money, and so whether it's Kamala or whether it's Donald Trump or Joe Biden, right? Whether JD Vance gets in there eventually, it won't damage them too much. They just have an ideological difference with a Donald Trump or a JD Vance or right a Mike Pence, a Paul Ryan, et cetera, right? Then there's others who rise or fall off of government policy, right? Certain government workers, certain people that's on the system. And when Ole said that, she was right. For the people that said, "Oh, it's not that serious," yeah, maybe for you, but for others, it is. Huh? With that, if y'all knew that, there should have been a real push on the left. If y'all were able to get Joe Biden to step down, why couldn't somebody say to Kamala, "Look, we done ran the numbers. We ran the numbers 7 ways from Sunday. Listen, lady, it's not going to be you. You pulled the worst, right? You pulled the worst. If we're moving him out the way because it's guaranteed that he's going to lose, ma'am, we're going to have to move you out the way too. Don't worry, we're going to get you a nice, cushy job afterward. We're going to put you on the same speaking tour that Michelle Obama's on, right? You'll go down in history as the first woman vice president. But ma'am, if we run you, you will lose. And you will get swept, and we're going to lose a bunch of lower seats also. Dear Democrats, start parking okay, fine. We know we have a country full of bribery. Start parking the truck of money, the Brinks truck in front of these people's houses, and tell them to run or tell them not to run. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying if this is the system we have and this is the system we're in, if it's legal bribery, sorry, lobbying, oops, huh? This is the question. And Michael Ross says, my question is, why would they even put her up? She got no support in 2020. She didn't even make it out of the primary. Wait, she didn't even make it into the primary. Ooh, goddamn Z. Yikes. Huh? So you're watching a bunch of people crash out and throw temper tantrums and say if y'all think y'all were incels before or icells before, then wait until how you see how women respond now. You see women who speaking about the 4B movement. Stop. Y'all not gonna put the peen down. Stop it, ladies. Stop it. Y'all don't have the discipline. Goddamn Z. White women, y'all don't have the discipline. Asian women, y'all don't have the discipline. Latina women, y'all don't have the discipline. Black women, yeah, that's it. Y'all don't have the discipline. Put the peen down. Okay, stop it. Y'all don't have the discipline. Ma'am, you press send on your Twitter while you had the peen in another hand. Stop it. You're not gonna put the peen down. We know this. No? And compassionate says, Z, we have to pivot to gubernatorial rate 2026 gubernatorial race. Now that black men are perceived to be a wild card, not really, lol, we may be able to leverage that in coming races. No, I think so. Dr. Thunder may have remembered me saying this because the races are so tight, right? Pause. Because the races are so tight, these little margins matter. These little margins matter. And the Dems realize this, by the way. Black men staying home, and I'm looking for it. I think who was it? Was it Inspired Truth? Someone asked me to look for the numbers of the drop off number from last election from 2020 because we know it's somewhere between 4 out of 5, so 80-ish%, something like 78 to maybe 82%, 81% of black men that did go voted for Kamala Harris. But we don't know how many black men, and I'm gonna look it up. Maybe somebody actually has found this compared to 2020, how many black men voted or didn't vote at all, right? That's the question. Say that. And Buckeye fan says the people that anointed her in the primaries in 2018 insisted on getting a return on their investment with Kamala. And how did that work out? Huh? And Compassion says, I'm trying to find it. 9 million black men casted ballots in 2020, still waiting on figures for this race. Yeah. As a matter of fact, somebody posted, I found it on Reddit, the electoral map by county, and it's a Sia red, but it's not official yet, so that's why I didn't post it on YouTube. I want to see when the official, because I've been searching for it. I haven't seen anything official for the counties yet. But we already know it's going to be it's always a Sia red, by the way. If you ever look at any election by county, oh, and I think it's going to be horrific this time, right? I already said this before, and I'm kind of ripping off of Armio Sefrempong, shout out to the Funky Academic, and I'm paraphrasing, which is essentially in America, people will go for organized white supremacy over disorganized liberalism or whatever marginalized groups, people of color, black people, LGBTQ folks are talking about. They will go for, I'm saying, even people of color, even some black people, they'll go for organized white supremacy. And guess what JD Vance in particular is offering? Huh? I let's actually get into this because I was thinking about this last night or maybe yesterday morning. Um we have seen multiple times this push to call conservatives weird, right? Over and over again we saw them pushing weird. And to a certain extent, yeah, some of these people, yeah, they're a little bit off the reservation. But on the left, I don't think y'all really appreciate how weird y'all come off to the rest of America, right? I don't think you really appreciate how weird you come off to the rest of America. And culture is downstream from politics. I'm not telling y'all to make Destiny Chance's hair color back to a natural hair color. I'm saying you don't appreciate how much the Miss Fosters, the Destinies, the right? You don't appreciate how much they're weird to your average American. The women who saw what was going on in South Korea with a small fringe group, this 4B movement thing, the women in America that said, yeah, let's imitate that. I don't think you appreciate how weird you come off, how weird you appear to everyone else. Huh? I don't think you appreciate how weird it is to middle America to see 6 foot tall, slim diesel, 6'3" slim diesel men with tutus on. I'm not giving a moral claim here whether it's right or wrong. I'm saying to middle America, do you understand what that looked like? Huh? You don't appreciate, for those of you that saw the my post that I posted in the community chat, well, that was last night or earlier this morning. Mr. Z, time, I'm telling you. And I said you have to reevaluate what you're speaking about on the left. You're going to have to reevaluate the emphasis that you put on certain lifestyles. And I'm not just speaking about LGBTQ stuff right now either. This is a complete, and shout out to Ole because she said it. Essentially, what America just told a particular sect of the left is shut the F up, right? And if you see even younger folks are pivoting to the right, particularly younger men, that is a repudiation of what you stand for, or at least what you're saying out loud. The Electoral College exists for a reason. We already know about its origins and slavery and right and trying to balance out the population centers. We know. For those of us that know, took poli sci, we get it. So this over indexing on pandering to women, and I'm not saying pandering in a bad way because, hey, politicians pander on the left and the right. But this over indexing on pandering to the sensibilities of women, primarily white women, obviously, to run up the population numbers, particularly for single, childless white women or middle America white women, slightly left of center, or full on leftist white women, and then telling men to get in where they fit in, that strategy won't work. That's why it didn't. That's why the electoral college is there, to balance out the population numbers. So y'all can run up the numbers as much as you want with the women. All you need is a good what? 40% of women to defect? 45-ish? And you find yourself here. Now what? And I'm directing that primarily, specifically to the Kim Foster types that thought you could just run up the numbers for single cat ladies, her words, and then you could tell the men to go take a hike. Well, it didn't work. It didn't work. That's why y'all crashing out. Miss Foster's gonna be okay. She said it. She said as much. She's going to be okay. But all of your sistering are not, huh? And you over-indexed on single, childless cat ladies, and now we find ourselves here, huh? The 80-year-old, 12-year-old with Tourette's, born with a silver spoon up his rear end, and the red pill white dude with the South Asian wife, who's borderline a white nationalist. Uh-oh. Because the left did the math wrong, because they always do the math wrong. Your math ain't mathing, huh? And once again, Toya, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Toya said, put some Skrilla on the table. Thank you once again, Toya. And Inspired Truth Broadcast says, and thank you for the super chat. Reminder, matriarchy doesn't work. If you take a man's heart, you take his mind, and he can't fight strategically, right? And thank you, right? And you know, how would this is the thing. How would you inspire, let's scale matriarchy up to the size of a population, the size of America's 300 and some odd million. How do you inspire the men? Uh-oh. Let me take a page out of Sarge Willie Pete's book. How do you inspire the men to maintain the physical infrastructure in a world where the women rule it outright? In a world where the courts are stacked against your average man, in a world where the women are truly huddling on the top 20%, only having children with the top third or 20%, but still they run things outright. How do you inspire the men to maintain the roads and the bridges and the buildings? Huh? The ships and the planes. How do you inspire them? That's a good question, right? What you have had over the past few decades is a chipping away. I'm not even speaking about black men. It's even worse, obviously. It's way more than a few decades. But what you've had over the past few decades is a chipping away at why men move, the things that inspire men. Huh? And you've watched the fallout of that. And now we're at a tipping point. We've been at a tipping point. Huh? And so what you see from JD Vance is, no, we got to bring these men back online. You think JD Vance don't know about Dr. Richard Reeves? Huh? You think he doesn't know about a Dr. Scott Galloway? Uh-oh. You think he doesn't know about a Raj Shetty? You think maybe he even doesn't know about a Dr. T? Ooh, a Dr. Tommy Curry? Yikes. You think he doesn't know about what's going on with young men around this country? Huh? This is a Yale graduate, highly educated white guy with a South Asian wife. You think he don't know? He's going to maneuver the mechanisms as best he can to put white men back on in the driver's seat. And there's going to be some black men that get to benefit from that. Ooh, Passport OG. See, I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it. You said it. Oh, I gotta oblige. I gotta read it. And Passport OG says, "You think JD Vance don't know about Kevin Samuels?" Ooh. Ah, 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 ah. Why does that matter, Z? Z, this is culture stuff. I thought you were talking about the crash out of women. You're weaving in academic speech, Mr. Z's not an academic, with cultural speak. Once again, you think JD Vance don't know about a Kevin Samuels? Z, you didn't answer the question. You think JD Vance don't know about Kevin Samuels? Z is answering the question. Let's go into it. You think you don't have academics? You think Richard Reeves never saw a Kevin Samuels interview? You think Dr. Scott Galloway never seen one? If they know about Chris Williamson and they know about Andrew Tate, even though they mock them, and they know about Fresh and Fit, even though they mock them, you think they don't know about Kevin? Why does that matter, Z? Because if they watch any Kevin Samuels conversations, what they saw was women, namely black women. That's why I told you, y'all PR campaign is crap. Talking to a 50 some odd year old man, you saw 20 some odd year olds being disrespectful to a 50 some odd year old man and saying, who wants to be with average anyway? Y'all don't really appreciate what y'all did. And then y'all danced on his grave when he died. Why does this matter? The crash out. Huh? JD Vance said, I'll be damned if my son has to interact with women like that when he gets older. Uh-oh. Y'all don't get it. Y'all don't get it. It's bigger than you. Pause. That's why y'all are crashing out. You wouldn't be crashing out right now if you had the right reading of history and you did the math. Huh? Someone tells you he's wrong. And once again, Inspired Truth, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. It's a bunch of people that just are hell bent on misreading America and American history. It's a bunch of people that have taken for granted upward mobility, quote unquote progress, right? It's like it's inevitable, right? For them, it's inevitable. And Mr. Z's not in his accelerationist bag, so I'm not there with it. That's not where I am. Once again, more in my Afro pessimist bag, as Compassionate said. But y'all took, first of all, what made y'all think that your standard average white woman, even those that might be center left, right, or left of center, better yet, not maybe center left, but left of center, what made y'all think they were really okay with maybe being single cat ladies indefinitely? How often are white women going to whisper sweet nothings in your ear black women and then leave you high and dry. And then you throw in a temper tantrum because white women did what they always do in mass with black women. They gas y'all up. They make y'all think they're far more in line with you than they are. They make you think that they're going to stab their white men in the back and encourage you to stab black men in the back. And you always do that. And then you stab black men in the back, or you vote in ways that you think or feel are your interests, but in the grand scheme of things actually hurt you in the long run. And white women do not. Uh-oh. Huh? And exactly. And Compassionate says the left taking the loss as an opportunity to prove that sexism is a bigger issue than racism. Proof positive that intersectionality was right all along. Look, man, there are 7 doors in front of you. One of the doors is clearly the door you need to go through. It's flashing as the neon lights. It says, walk through this door to claim your prize. Clearly, this is the door to walk through. It's the door that says black men, but it's clearly the door to walk through. And you will watch black women walk through every other door. They will walk through the other 6 doors over and over and over again. Anything but to walk through that door with the neon lights and the glitter and the star on it that say black men. Every single time. Huh? And there's a cost to that. So you're going to watch, and by the way, Donald Trump does pose a threat. Mr. Z is not even going to act like his concept of ripping apart the bureaucracy in DC is not a problem. That's a problem. You need those folks that have been there for 15 and 20 and 30 years. You can't have that uh, uh not cabinet position, but you can't have these positions where every administration is some new folks walking in the door every 4 to 8 years. And if the president or the vice president or the political party could stay in office for 12 years, then 12 years. Nope. So yeah, that's going to be a problem. We wouldn't be having this conversation though if black women would do the one thing they've like never done in mass, which is challenge the madam. Ooh, damn Z. Which is challenge the madam. Where and what would black women be if they told white women in mass to kick rocks? Huh? Where would black women be if they would grow a pair? Z, they don't got it. Grow some ovaries and tell white women to kick rocks. We'll gamble with black men instead of being your bottom yitch, we'll say, and be the single cat ladies or quote unquote the rich aunties who are not that rich, extra average, extraordinary, if even that. Where would black women be? It's a question, right? And Compassion says white women are masters of making lemonade out of lemons. LOL. They'll turn any hit to white supremacy and turn it to an advantage. Cunning ass 304s. Um, yeah, well, that's the juxtaposition to white men's patriarchy, right? White men need white women to play innocent so that white men can use that as excuses to rain terror on everyone, particularly men of color, particularly black men in America. right? Somebody tells Z he's lying. White women's damsel in distress mode is the opposite end, right, of the coin when it comes to white male patriarchy. They need to play that role, right? It's a race game. It's a race game. You would think black women appreciate this and understand this and play their position, play their part. But hubris, ego, right? The manufactured matriarchy that turned into a Frankenstein monster called this black gynocracy. Huh? And the Kim Foster types and the FD types, they know that the black community, and shout out to Edward Anderson for asking that question on Bernard Riley's channel. Is the black community a matriarchy or a patriarchy? And when FD said a matriarchy, and then he attempted to explain why, and he got it, yeah, white supremacy will never let us, let black men lead, and da 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 da. In other words, I guess we're just gonna have to fall in line behind black women. Mr. Z, are you still talking about the crash out? Yes, Mr. Z is. Because we know that there is one era in American history where black men were actually men. One particular era, and it only lasted about a good 12-ish years. Reconstruction. Huh? Because Northern soldiers in the South kept the South from being, well, the South and raining terror on black men. And so black men got to be men for about a decade and some change. And the fear, I would argue, because we're still talking about the crash out, from black women, and I'm not saying JD Vance is our friend, neither is Trump. But I am saying, y'all gotta be careful, by the way, depending on the state you live in, and qualified immunity and all this other stuff, what they're doing with these police, and what the authoritarian spirit in JD Vance, and especially in a Trump. So let's not act like it's all, a panacea coming from the right either. With that, I would argue that the fear from the smart ones, we're talking about the very intelligent, can do the social math, even if we disagree with them. Their fear is that JD Vance and Donald Trump, Mr. Z, you keep on talking about JD Vance and not Donald Trump. There's a reason for that. Their fear is that JD Vance, because of the way he moves and his ideas about the family, give black men just enough space. Just enough space to assert themselves. Black men en masse. We know there's brothers in this space that already operate that way. But black men in significant number. And you better believe the women are mortified. The ones that know enough. Right? And once again, thank you for the super chat, Inspired Truth. Thank you for the super chat. And KMS says, and thank you for the super chat, white women and black women, I'm tired of looking down on these loser men, white men. I'm tired of it too. Let's make them high heels off so you can have men to look up to. Trump is the jab. Vance is the uppercut. Hope you chicks got a man. So when I listen to Miss Foster, okay, let me say this. I listen to these people because of what they glean from what we all are watching and seeing, right? Number one. Number two, that's why Mr. Z says let them talk. When you let them talk enough, when you see the wheels turning, you see how they assess what we're all seeing, And then you remember and recount what Mr. Z says all the time, which is these people are in the ears, excuse me, they're in the ears of influential people, whether that's entertainers, politicians, the technocrats. They work among and with these people. Even Miss Foster admitted she's about a degree of separation from all of the Simone Sanders and whatnot. She's about a degree of separation from them. So that's why I bring that up. But going to what you're saying, there's a fear that the advances of the world up in the gynocracy, rightfully so, right? There's a fear. So you would think that these people would have the foresight to maneuver certain people into place and have a constant stream of viable candidates, have a constant stream of technocrats that understand American history and not just understand it, but really grapple with what it means for people now. The context, not just you can recite off civil rights leaders' names or anti-black, segregationist names. No. What stain did they leave? What impact did they have? What are we still grappling with? Not just on the surface level, right? Like Mr. Z speaks about neoliberalism at nauseum, right? We speak about the Powell memo. About twice a year, I'll play that clip from Wisecrack with the CFO of Disney, the former CFO of Disney, Mr. Gary Marsh, speaking about directly advertising to little girls who are now women, lifestyle branding, advertising lifestyle branding. And those girls that at that time are now in their early 40s and their 30s. All of this matters. Mr. We still talking about the crash out. That's why they're crashing out. They're crashing out because their concepts and idea got overruled. And when you over-index on hyper-individuality, and when you talk this community talk, and you talk this societal talk, but you don't really appreciate that when you actually are about that, that means you don't always get to win. That means your vote get overruled. That means you might have to do things you don't want to do. And not only will you have to do things you don't want to do, you'll have to do things that you don't want to do that don't actually maybe even benefit you. But when you're a Disney kid, and it's not just about Disney, it was the entire environment, is the entire environment, and you over index on hyper individuality and over index on negative liberty, well, right? And so, yeah, you see these people, women, using this as a really good excuse in time to defecate on black men because they look at every one of these times to defecate on black men. They don't know how to do anything else. Huh? And Atrix says, let's not forget Kamala's a quote unquote child of the civil rights era. Yeah, we know. Yes, I'm just a regular middle class child from the civil rights era. I was raised middle class. Okay, lady. Okay, okay. We heard you the first 1 zillion times. We heard you. Right? And KMS, the tide of looking down on loser men is fascinating because we know that men still earn more than women across the board in America. I know once you dip under the age of 30, it gets a little different. But for the most part, men still earn more than women across America, which is fascinating because what the women are really saying is that in mass, the men don't earn enough more. They're not buying me. Now, do you expect women to overtly use those words? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But that's really what these particular women are saying. These men don't earn enough. You don't earn enough to talk, right? And the crash out, oh, you think they're crashing out now? Wait until those screws start to be, there's a pun in there, those screws start to be tightened. That's going to start pushing and nudging women home to men, particularly white women home to white men. You think they're crashing out now? This is the environment. If you think the men are losers, not all the pills are going to be sugar coated. Some of those pills are going to be bitter. You could have had the sugar coated pill, but every time the sugar coated pill is presented, you complain that it's not sweet enough. Shout out to my brother's keeper. Oops. So because you wouldn't take the sweet pill because it wasn't sweet enough, now you got the bitter pill. Shout out to JD Vance. And the bitter pill knows what buttons to press, the levers, the knobs, the switches. Oh, if the men are losers, he's about to, I would argue, what I foresee better yet, is an attempt to put men in the driver's seat. And not just the top 20% either. I what I truly think, but I do think there is going to be a streak of authoritarianism. Obviously, all of this is coded in white supremacy. Don't Mr. Z is not gonna. I'm not naive here. I would argue JD Vance is a lightweight white nationalist. Z, but he got a South Asian wife. Have y'all ever seen the Proud Boys? I'm just saying. Huh? So once again, for the conservative brothers, this is not a panacea. For the centrist brothers, this is not a panacea. Right? I'm not going to tell you whether you made the right choice or the wrong choice. What I will say is don't over romanticize, don't romanticize, and then definitely don't over romanticize a Donald Trump JD Vance. And don't pretend like you don't see what you see, right? So let's make sure we put that on the table. But continuing, this is the bitter pill. And the bitter pill, in my estimation, is about family, white patriarchy, white men leadership. And there's going to be certain men, black men and Latino men, that get to benefit off of that. But I would argue that JD Vance is about reasserting male head of household leadership families, obviously, once again, namely white men. Right? Phantom Cliff is the sour pill. Right? Huh. D Trace says, I was born in the middle class. Oh, man. Oh, that should have been her goddamn campaign slogan. All right. I'm just going through some of you guys' comments. And Kevin Miller says, Kim Foster seemed like she was gloating, like she was sure Kamala would win. So that was the impression she gave me also. She didn't say that outright. I think she still had certain reservations. Remember, she wasn't a Kamala fan. She's not a Kamala fan. I want to be very clear. As a matter of fact, a couple of bread2 people really they had to pull her coattails. She's not a Kamala fan. I, I'm I'm expecting a think piece from her within the next month or so, really going in on the Democrats like she was. She's gonna go in and I expect it to actually be pretty good. So let's see. Obviously, the sexism and the misandry notwithstanding, we know that's coming. But I actually expect. But if y'all notice, I do listen to these people because Mr. C's on the left and even the conservative folks because there's little tidbits you be like, okay, on that you're right. On that I actually agree with. Right? I disagree with your answer, but your assessment I agree with on the left and the right. You know, if you're gonna be honest about the world you live in, the people you live on this planet with, the people you live in this country with, then you have to at least hear out different arguments because they're going to present something to you that you're like, you know what? I didn't consider that. Right. So I expect her to give her best take on the Dems and their loss. And let's see. I would argue the Dems are not the culture war stuff is really hurting the Dems. The culture war stuff is really hurting them. Because if you know the country culturally may lean more right, and then you're over indexing on trans and their lifestyle and sexuality, do you understand the disadvantage you're putting yourself in? I'm not saying that these people shouldn't exist. That's, I have my own feelings about that, but fine. Okay, legally they could do whatever they want to do. Cool. But once again, do you appreciate how weird it is when people think of trans young men and boys competing against their girls in sports? Are some of these people just the phobic word? Yes, of course. And you don't make it any better when you tell them some cockamamie asinine thing like there's no real difference. There's no real biological difference. What? Do you appreciate the country you're living in? And what you saw with Ole, coming right back around to the crash out, is this, oh crap. Even the Gen Z are pivoting a bit more conservative. I told you why. And I think the left has a good assessment on the corporatization of America, and certain real leftists have a really good critique of the neoliberalism in America. I'll give them that. But y'all don't really got nothing to say about the women that say in the clip that Sarge Willie Pete played, the second clip on it. By the way, links are in the description box. Where the white lady was saying straight up, and she looked like she was maybe in her 20s still, maybe early 30s, but somewhere in her 20s, maybe early 30s, like, yo, I have to work. The way the economy is set up, I have to work, right, right? Unless she end up with a really well-to-do or, you know, white dude, but around her age, probably she's somewhere in her late 20s, early 30s-ish. At least that's what it looks like. The likeliness of her meeting a man, whether she's in the white men, black men, Latino men, or whatever, that earn enough, let's say she live in a major city, to pay for both of them and make her a stay-at-home wife and mom. So yeah, she's right. She has to work. If the left would critique the 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 gigification of the economy and do that on a Bernie size scale, like do that in the debate, go at Trump for his brand of corporate America. Go at JD Vance for his side of the political spectrum when it comes to the tech bros. Go at Yarvin, right? Go at Peter Thiel. Go at Elon Musk, but y'all can't. because you have a toxic understanding of female autonomy. I told y'all, I said black men are attached by the hip to black women. Mr. Z still saying that wrong. The other way around. Black women are attached by the hip to black men. Women are attached by the hip to men. Y'all have a really messed up understanding of female autonomy informed by some weirdo concept of negative liberty. Huh? Oh yeah, I saw a bunch of people playing that, and Phantom Clutch says, Mr. Z, tell Alexa to play What I've Done by Linkin Park. Yeah, a bunch. Yeah, a bunch of people are playing that right now. Yeah, 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 yeah. I've seen the well, shout out to Ed, but yeah, I've seen it. Huh? So this is the problem. And Compassion says, how do you critique gig work and social media companies when you're funded by Uber and Facebook? Hey, when you gave the green light to Uber, shout out to Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama, right? And your labor secretary, huh? And it's exactly what from Africa I came said. Come on, Z, there is no left. There's no left. I think you meant to say in America. That isn't funded by corporations. They won't allow that critique. Let Mr. Z get in his lefty back like I did a couple days ago. Once again, this is why there should be campaign finance reform. You are given presidential different levels of presidential candidates. In the primary, you got, let's say, 100 million to play with, up to 10 candidates on each side, whatever, right? Then when it's Democrat versus Republican or whatever, third party, you get a different type of money, whatever. When it's Dems versus Republicans on a national stage, each candidate is given 750 million, $1 billion, you make it happen. Senators are given 20, 25 million each, you make it happen. Governors are given this much. Campaign finance reform. That way, you don't have the lobbying coming in. You don't have an Elon Musk funding a Donald Trump so that he could get little even more set asides for his companies, and he can get tax cuts because he's going to be the one, and so he can go at the NLRB, right? Just saying. Is it? And Sahel says, Z, how has Kamala's campaign finished in debt, by the way? I didn't know it was in debt. Is it? That's crazy. See, this is my point. And Kevin says, the left could have gotten younger men's vote, but the quote unquote all men are privileged philosophy prevented it. They were too antagonistic. And once again, KMS, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Too antagonistic. And Better You says, yep, Kamala 20 mil in debt. Oh, there's a joke in there. Z, don't say it. Don't say it. Goddamn black women. Okay, there we go. There we go. Oh, that felt good. But yeah, that look, they were too antagonistic. Shout out to Kevin Miller. They were too antagonistic. And that goes to show where the minds and the hearts are for these people. When they look at every opportunity to antagonize men. I kept on saying it, right? Kamala isn't even president yet. Kept saying because you hearing women just popping off. That's why y'all crashing out, coming right back to the topic. You're taking for granted this quote unquote progress and your negative liberty and your concepts of hyper individualism. You're taking for granted that you live in these leftist cities, and not even leftist, liberal bastions, New York, certain parts of California. Once again, when you look at it by county, oh boy, right? Chicago, DC, you take these areas that you live in for granted, and you don't appreciate how, once again, as I said earlier, how weird many of your concepts sound to your average American. It don't sound insane to Z because I'm a leftist and I'm used to y'all sounding the way y'all do. But the second you step your big toe out of that major city you live in, now what? Huh? Barrett, I'm about to ask you something. And Barrett says, interesting. Exit polls show Asian women majority voted for Trump over their male counterparts. Huh. Everybody know where Mr. Z is about to go with this, that have been on Mr. Z's page for a while. Barrett, let me ask you something. What's the interracial marriage rate for Asian women? Uh-oh. And who are they marrying when they do marry out by vast majority? Yikes. If what you're saying is true, Baron, who are Asian women married to? Single Asian women. Who are they more likely to marry? Uh-oh. I'm saying. Here's another question for you. JD Vance's wife is what? Uh-oh. Huh? What's her name? Amy Chua is what? Somebody tell me Amy Chua is on the left. Yeah, right. Huh? Thank you, Saint Cyr. JD Vance's wife is Asian. Exactly. Huh? Just saying. And Detroit says, and thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Detroit says, somehow, some way, that 78% of black men voted for Kamala Harris, which isn't bad news for black people. Just like last time, what happened to Stacey Abrams? True. And Excalibur, real quick, before I address what you said, Excalibur says, Z, you got to put some of your Z-isms on a t-shirt, LOL. Like, which ones? What did I say? I'll be going. I'll just be going, y'all. Right. And back to Detroit. And look, the 78%, so like I said, 4 out of 5, that's not bad. That's still better than every other demographic of men that I understand, right? That's still better than every other demographic of men, and quite frankly, a good portion of women of different backgrounds, right? So, and Leon says, no, JD Vance's wife is Indian descent, not Asian. Leon, India is in Asia. And it's still considered Asia. It's South Asian versus East Asian, but it's still Asian, right? So that's what, like, it's still, she's still Asian. Amy Chu is still Asian. That's my point. Like, these Asian women are oftentimes married to conservative white men. Obviously, they marry liberal white men, obviously, because Asian women just trying to get in where they fit in. I see you, Asian women, right? So that's what I'm saying. I'm not surprised by the number of Asian women who are married to, or excuse me, who voted for Trump, because how many of them are married to conservative white men? Y'all remember what's his name? Pettick? Was that the one that did the mass deletion in Vegas some years back? Remember? He wasn't married to her. Remember his lady? Wasn't she Filipina? You want to tell me he was a leftist? He might have been, but not from my understanding, right? Oh, Leon said semantics. I said not Leon. I'm sorry. Lion said semantics. Exactly. And Mr. Donnie Max is still blaming the 22%. That's what it looked like. Thank you. Detress says, guess who Kamala is? Black and South Asian descent. Married to who? A white man. Just saying. Right. And Global Free Agent says that chart Z showed yesterday was striking. I'm going to find more. When I listened to Miss Foster yesterday, yesterday or the day before, yesterday I want to say, um, she was going through a bunch of numbers, so she got the access right there. She was going through a bunch of numbers, so I'm gonna look up what she was looking up, and yeah, we just gonna screenshot, trim, post it. So I should be coming to y'all with more of that stuff. Y'all just stay tuned because for me it's more than just the election. It's more than just the women crashing out. This is one of the most consequential. It's every time we say that though. Oh, it's so cliche, but it really is. This is one of the most excuse me, consequential elections of our lifetime. Right? It's not just the quote unquote gender war thing. It's not about that. You have a number of things going on from Ukraine to Smart Hatsville over there in the Middle East, right? China, yeah, the BRICS forming, the petrodollar, all of these things are happening. All of these things are either being challenged, um, or something that is a pressing concern, all at the same time. And so, to see how a second Donald Trump presidency with a JD Vance as his VP is going to fare, and we don't even know what those other cabinet seats are going to look like. We have an idea of maybe one with Elon Musk. Those other cabinet seats, I know his chief of staff is that lady, but this time around, but yeah, we don't know. We over here talking about JD Vance. We don't even know what those other cabinet seats are going to look like. Y'all hold on to y'all hats. Centrists and leftists, hold on to your hats. Y'all conservative brethren, maybe y'all will be happy to see this, and I think even y'all will have some regrets. I told y'all it's not a panacea. I'm, I'm saying this now. Everyone hold on to your hats. Black people, hold on to your hats. Even you conservative brethren, y'all think it's all that. All right, we'll see. Right, we'll see. Right, and yeah, that 78% that voted for Kamala, which isn't bad. It's not bad. Detroit, it's not. But once again, certain black women they use the 20 some odd percent of black men because what I'm arguing is a serious number of black men that had the time, that had the that could have voted. They stayed home because they weren't going to vote for Kamala or Trump, and because they're not going to vote for president, they don't exercise the right to vote down ballot or to vote for whatever initiatives in your state, in your county that came up. So they said, you know what, I'm not going to vote for president, so I might as well stay home. I might as well go to work that day, right? Or if they had the time on lunch break, man, I'd rather look, man, I'm trying to go to Taco Bell, right? So yeah, just saying. Thank you. Baron says Rupert Murdoch's ex-wife, Asian, yeah, the one that stopped the pie. For those of you that don't know, one time he was at some event or something like that, and somebody tried to hit him in the face with the pie, and the Asian wife blocked that with one hand. Bow. For any of us that ever saw the video, yeah, the Asian ex-wife, better yet, and I think he has two daughters with her, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And thank you, Toya. And Toya says hashtag Black men are elite. Thank you, Toya. Thank you. Yes, we are. Right. From Africa I came sin. Forget the centrist brothers, goddamn. From Africa I came sin. Centrists are always right wing leaning, so forget about them. Oh man. Yep. I'm reading through you guys' comments, so give me a second. Yeah. Yeah, and Detroit about the Stacey Abrams thing, it wasn't lost on me what you said. It's the same thing, right? They over-index on criticizing black men before there's even an election, and then when the elections results come out, and once again, some 4 out of 5 ish um black men vote in the direction that people were hoping that we voted in. We do, do that, and do we get any pats on the back? Any data boy or attaboy? Nope. Just more criticizing. But of course, gynocracy, everyone, gynocracy. Right. And once again, thank you for the super chat, Detroit. Thank you for the super chat. And thank you for the super chat, goddamn, Dr. Dunbar. And Dr. Dunbar says, childless cat ladies will cost everyone and the system at large. Meow. And thank you for the super chat, Doc. Thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And I agree. Once again, the concepts of negative liberty, hyper individuality, autonomy, right? Consumerism, materialism, all of this, like, it's a combustible mix, right? It's a combustible mix. And so we find ourselves here. It's ugly. As Dr. Dunbar said, it's going to cost our society. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you in family formation, right? It's going to cost you in the discipline of the children. It's going to cost you in this quote unquote upward mobility that America has essentially promised every generation. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you in inspiring men. It's going to cost you, quite frankly, in inspiring women. The social, what's the word I'm looking for? Dimorphism. It's going to cost you in that. Right? It's costing you right now in childbirth. It's costing you in marriage rates. It's going to cost you. And for those people that think that being married doesn't have deleterious effects, or not being married doesn't have deleterious effects on your society, well, I would like to direct you to, well, America. Right? We're here now. Huh? Thank you. Dimorphism. Thank you, Indigo. Right? And let me read this one now. I'm gonna skip over real quick and let me read KMS's super chat. And KMS says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. KMS says, I casted a vote of no confidence. Seriously. F both candidates, but I understand how the election results see Trump slash Vance as the controlled fire to prevent the whole forest from burning down. That's what I think. I think, yeah, this is what I think. And so I already put out my predictions of what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to, J.D. Vance in particular, obviously at the leadership of Donald Trump, they're going to try to bolster back families. They're going to try to bring back factories. I think they're really, I don't think Trump was all talk with some of the things he's going to try to enact. And let's see. I do think he's an egotistical maniac. He is a narcissist the size of Jupiter. Um, but I think he's going to attempt truly to enact some of these things by hook or by crook. And I think JD Vance knows how to wield the mechanisms, and the things that he don't know, I think he's a fast learner, and he will learn how to wield the mechanisms to help bring about whatever him and Trump say they're going to do. For the good and bad of it, by the way. It ain't all good. Right? So, you know. Yeah, no, yeah. And Telescope says, KMS, like you, I made a conscious effort to vote against both of them. Right? Yeah. Yeah, I told y'all I voted down ballot. I voted down ballot. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I already told y'all I was going to write in Cornell West's name, and Sister Z, younger Sister Z, got in my ear. It was like, no, 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 just leave it blank if you're gonna do that. And yeah, so I left it blank because he wasn't on the ballot. Cornell West wasn't on the ballot in Florida. So yeah, so I left it blank. But I voted for. I don't even smoke. I never have. I voted for the weed initiative. It didn't go through. Yeah, and I voted down ballot for various different candidates and initiatives. But yeah. So yeah, I voted. I left it blank. So I'm with you, KMS. I'm with Telescope. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Forget both of them. Both of them. Right. So yeah. And we don't. And Tony says, Z, ego and narcissistic are inherent in leaders. It's a dark triad. We don't want weak leaders. No, that's true. We don't. You're right. Huh? And Saint Cyr says, I said that to someone in someone's stream. JD is a rock star to the Proud Boys slash libertarian types. He is going to turn up and run with it. Yeah, yeah. They have the mandate. And once again, KMS, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. They have the mandate, right? They do. And once again, Dr. Dunbar, thank you for the super chat. And yeah, the meow. Yeah. I think the term cat, the cat's meow, it's good. We're gonna have to give it new context now. The cat's meow might have to have new context to it now. Yeah, it might have new meaning now, right? I'm just saying. But yeah, the single cat ladies, and J Vance saying that, and the fact that like leftists threw a temper tantrum and threw a fit about it, but it wasn't like if JD Vance would have said something like that, let's say not 2016, let's say JD Vance would have said something like that in 2012, 2013, 2010, oh, that would have been the end of his career. That would have been the end. If he would have said that in a pejorative sense back in 2012, 2013, 2010, that would have been the end of his career. That would have been too far. Nope. But there's a lot of people who they're tired of the single cat ladies. There's married women, married white women in particular. They're tired of it, right? Obviously, men, namely white men, right? So yeah, that now he said it, and yeah, a couple of people made some stink over it, but here we are, right? And once again, thank you for the super chat, Dr. Dunbar. Thank you for the super chat. And Buckeye fan says, now the dim need the quote unquote bros after burning 2016 and 2020. I said it in a previous stream. This is the ghost of Bernie past. Y'all dealing with the ghost of Bernie past. It's looking ugly. It's looking ugly, right? How do you combat this now? Who are you going to forward who have the policies? You can't be lightweight right. Those days are over. The third wave, Bill Clinton, it's done. And you can't keep on over indexing on the cultural leftist stuff and the sexual leftist stuff either. People don't care when inflation is what it is. Fine, you want to push cultural, social, sexual leftism. Not when the economy is the way it is right now. Huh? So you're going to have to find a Bernie 2.0. Bernie's too old. Have fun trying to make it AOC. I don't see it. Huh? Y'all go, dear left. I said y'all gotta be left all the way, especially on economics. And you have to start. You should have started yesterday. You need to start today, and you need to put your victories on Front Street with neon lights. You're going to have to be antagonistic to the corporate sector, even your donors. Ooh, Z. Ooh, I know. I know. You're going to have to break up some of these near monopolies. Near Z, I know. It's that simple. You're going to have to try to push once again single payer healthcare. Oh yeah. Oh Z, you go in there. I went there with rocket boosters on. Huh? This middle milk toast. Shout out to Dr. Cornell West. This milk toast lightweight right stuff is how you got here. The neoliberal, right? The neoliberal liberal, but kind of right. No, yawn. Thank you, Passport OG. Dim suing progressives off the ballot. Huh? Yeah, and AB says, yeah, yep, Bernie is way too old now. He's too old. Y'all need a Bernie 2.0. Huh? I'm, I don't know what to say about that. Like, the, I get the crash out from the ladies. I get it. Go ahead. I know it feels cathartic. You gotta yell it out and scream it out. Some of y'all are doing this for attention, but right, yell it out and scream it out. It's not gonna change anything. You have work to do. You have men to appeal to. Black men. All that coalition building. Time to be about it, not just talk about it. And stop lying to yourselves when you know you have a candidate that's not gonna make it all the way. And as Ole said, this was a really fu because Trump won the popular vote. Kamala struggled to get what 70 million. I know it was 66. Now it's closer to 70 million. It's last time I checked, it was like 69, 70 million votes. To Donald Trump's last time I checked, it was 81 million. I know it's got to be 83, 84 now. That mean, like Mr. Z said, the left and the Democrats that were not going to vote for Trump and were not going to vote for independent because they see it as a wasted vote. They didn't have any ballot initiatives that they thought were concerning. They stayed home by 10 million people at least. That's what that just said. What that said is at least 10 million voters stayed home. Is Mr. Z wrong about it? Do we have 150 listening? Anybody want to say they think? Nah, Z, I think you off on this. It looked like about 10 million or so people stayed home from the left, or at least left of center. Huh? There go your victory right there. Let me read this one now. This is hysterical. And Leon says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. I can barely get my phrase out. And Leon says, progressive coalition building with white men and Asian women. They're already building with each other. Giggity. Right? They're already building with each other. Right? Now, attempting to build with them, uh oh. right? Now that's a difficult proposition. Yeah, but she's not progressive. And Passport OG says Bernie 2.0, Liz Cheney question mark, woman plus LGBTQIA 2024 dim progressive. Nah, she's not progressive enough, right? My lady asked me about Gavin Newsom last night, and I was like, we'll see, right? And Big Kev says the irony is communists, when they ascend to power, immediately create bureaucratic overreach policy states, excuse me, police states, and discrimination against ethnic subcultures, women, and LGBTQIAs. Yeah, LGBTQs. Yep. Thank you. And Global Free Agent says 2.0 with charisma, though. Yeah, if you got a Bernie, you got to have charisma. Bernie 2.0, right? And Telescope says, Dim's hearing Z, you're going to have to split the atom. It's that simple, right? No, I know what I'm asking is a bit much, even though it's really not. Because I'm asking these people to see beyond themselves and have the foresight, and for the first time, like not, maybe not the first time because Barack did it, outmaneuver the Republicans that you swear you're smarter than. I swear y'all think y'all so damn smart, and y'all keep on being outsmarted by the people that y'all think y'all smarter than. Like y'all think y'all smarter than the rednecks in like West Virginia with like three teeth in their mouth, and they're the ones laughing all the way back to their trailer park because they got the people in that they wanted in and able to snub you. And you a whole Harvard grad. I'm just saying. Huh? And once again, Leon, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, like I said, the Asian women and the white men they're already coalition building with themselves. And Buckeye Van, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, it's the ghost of Bernie past. It's the we're dealing with the ghost of Bernie past. Um, it when it comes to that, that's why I hear Mr. Z stuttering. When it comes to that, what else can you say? Like y'all ran Hillary, Trump smacked her up. Y'all ran Kamala, Trump smacked her up. Right? Y'all ran Biden, and Biden won that, but COVID and white men. And there you go. Right. So, and once again, thank you for the super chat, Buckeye fan. And Passport OG says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Passport OG says, JD Vance laid down the gauntlet. Yeah, yeah. A Dubs at the ready. Yeah, yep, yep. Look, JD Vance is your red pill white guy. JD Vance is your red pill white guy. And he's being backed by Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Yarvin. Why can't I ever remember this damn man's first name? Yeah, for the good and bad of it. And there's some bad in there, right? Just saying. And I would say your average and I'm gonna read through the articles of the red how the red pill guys and the manosphere handed Donald Trump the election. I'm gonna go through that. We might have another stream coming either later on today, probably more tomorrow. But yeah, where we cover that because that there's something to say about that. Right? And go into that. To what Leon said. Excuse me, not Leon. To what Lion asked me way earlier. Line, I'm not sure what time if I'm going to be able to stream tomorrow and what time. It's probably going to be earlier though, but yeah, because I tried to knock out certain things today to give me some space tomorrow to stream a little bit earlier. So we'll see. Right. To go to your question, I know it took me like an hour plus to answer it, but yeah. Um, but yeah, no, JD Vance, Asian wife, yeah, Amer- um, uh, American women, namely white women, um, if they're really paying attention, they know what who JD Vance is, and they appreciate and understand why he has a South Asian wife and not a white wife, right? So that's important. That's going to be important to analyze JD Vance worldview because we know about Hillbill Elegy. Um, yeah, and you can glean a lot from his interviews and from his talks about the book. Yeah, he's really about the nuclear family structure, white nuclear family structure in particular. But once again, that leaves a little bit of space for other men, men of color, black men. And if we already know that single, childless black women have the least amount of wealth in America, do they appreciate what that's going to mean for them in a world where Donald Trump and JD Vance reassert white male power in America and forward nuclear family, namely headed by white men, but traditional nuclear family? Do you appreciate what a JD Vance pushing that is going to mean for you? Right? Huh. Cam S says JD Vance is a young Joe Biden and Andrew Tate had a son. Oh boy. Right? Man. No, Passport OG, yeah. Yeah, I think they got the message. They might have got the message. And Buckeye fan, and thank you for the super chat once again. And Buckeye fan says, and thank you for the super chat, Buckeye fan. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And Buckeye fan says, FD agrees with you on quote unquote politics of spite. Oh, does he? Yeah. I wonder if he got that from me because I've been saying it for a while. Shout out to AB Media. He remembered me saying that. And BGS, right? And Black Guru, actually. The politics of spite, it's real. Yeah, but stop playing with these people. Z, but they're going to vote against their own interests. Psychological interest, everyone. Some people are okay with burning to death if they can drag you into the fire with them. Tell Z he lying. If they can push you into the fire first or drag you into the fire with them, oh yeah, yeah, I'll burn to death. I'll sign up for it. Huh? Just saying. So the politics of spite is real. And people are just tired of the smugness and the somewhat haphazardness of the left. Huh? The smug is on 1,000. It's just, it breaks the goddamn Richter scale. And the condescending tone. And yes, so your policies may be better, possibly, debatable, but possibly watered down leftist policies that establishment Democrats take on may possibly be better for working class and working poor and lower middle class. Okay, fine. For argument's sake, let's say that's true. But people are just sick and tired of the smugness. Y'all let the goddamn Republic imagine a world where The Democrats let the Republicans outmaneuver them when it comes to speaking to the impoverished and the people on the bottom. The Republicans are making a play at being the cool party, and y'all are letting them. Oh my God. Yeah, it gets worse. It gets worse. It gets worse. The left is letting the right make a play at black men being the right, being the cool party. Oh, in what world? What world are we in, everyone? We in the Twilight Zone now. This complete Twilight Zone, right? Oh boy, just saying. Somebody tell Z line. Well, they both always try to do that. And Namus says, "Don't you mean the right is making a play at being the sensible party?" I think both of them are attempting to do that. Huh? That's why you had Tim Walz calling JD Vance and them weird, calling Donald Trump weird. Because you want to be the sensible party. Now the thing is, what I think Tim Walz didn't appreciate is how much the culture part of leftist politics comes off weird to the masses. Huh? We're not talking about your son and his gay lifestyle that you still trying to keep secret from your Christian folks. We're speaking about your daughter who's trying to transition into being your son. Uh-oh. Huh? And when people hear about Elon Musk, um, the one kid that he has that, you know, did the T part of LGBTQ, and they hear Elon in his regret at signing the paperwork and going along with it. I don't think y'all really appreciate how much that hits home for people, right? Whether it's right or not. Huh. Just saying. I will say this. Um, and this is going to what Vince said. Where is that? And Vince says, I think FD is in stealth mode because how you know my name, good brother, right? So FD thought that Kamala was gonna win, like hands down. I think y'all miss her, brother. Okay, let me say this, just in case FD is listening, or if anybody know him, and just send him this clip, timestamp it, send it to him. And he could only have to listen to this. FD, when you said to me, I want to say that second conversation, that we were in our bubbles over here in the Black Manosphere. You said we were in our bubbles, and I responded to you knee jerk. It was damn near a reaction. I was like, no, brother, I think y'all are in y'all bubbles. And I said to you then, I'm not just saying that as a quick response. I mean it. Here we are, months later. Let me say it again. I mean it. This is why Ole's crashing out, because she even is beating up on herself for gassing herself up and allowing the left to gas her up like Kamala was a viable candidate. Kamala is not likable. I'm not even doing the black misogyny thing, the misogyny noir Z. I'm not. No, this is not about Z walking down that road. Kamala came off inauthentic, man. It's that simple, right? Kamala comes off inauthentic. Leon says, FD didn't think Kamala was going to win. He was trying to get that 40K women population to come back and subscribe to his channel. Stop the cap, Z. Yawn. Leon calling Z out. Leon's like, bro, you know, FD ain't really believe that. That's cap, right? And Buckeye fan, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat once again. And the builders table, thank you for the super chat, big old 50, right? And like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And the builders table says, cultural solidarity is an interesting thing, ain't it? Shout out to the men building men. Go Pete. Go Professor. And y'all already know, for those of you that have been with Z for a while, y'all already know. Every time Go P slides through, we have to say, shout out to Go Professor. Go Professor was the first person to suggest that Mr. Z start his channel. And here we are, years later. So y'all are being tortured by Z and his schoolgirl giggling because of Go Professor. And all of the folks that have, well, the women who have subtly jabbed at and made fun of Z. You have GoP to thank for his channel. Um, yeah. So shout out to the Chrissies, and I promise y'all, I'm starting to believe more and more. It might be Z smelling his own fart. I promise y'all, I be thinking Kim Foster. Listen, because she's saying things you like. I said this the previous stream. I'm like, are you talking to me? You know when you point at yourself like me, right? And the way she addresses things, it's either there's someone that sounds a lot like Z or speaks a lot like Z, um, and she's addressing that person, or she might be addressing like the entire Black manosphere, but it's things that Z reiterates all the time. So it feels like, if it's a longer feels like she's speaking to me, but I, I, I'm like, there's certain things you're saying or certain things you're addressing, and it's like, I don't know how many other people in the Black manosphere like emphasize this point as much as I do. It feels like you're talking about me, right? So just saying, just saying. Vince, Vince going at your neck, Miss Foster, and Vince says Kim Foster is not cool or independent enough of a thinker to come up with some of those thoughts. I don't know. I don't know. She's a Harvard grad. I ain't gonna do all that. I ain't gonna do all that. I'm gonna give the lady her props. I'm gonna give her props. Right. I'm gonna give her props. Vince says, sounds like some rebuttals, lol. I'm saying. Better you says she's a ninja watcher. She's secretly watching. Oh man. Vince says, sounds like a whole lot of swagger jacking to me. You know what? You're right. You're right. Because I remember when she screenshot whatever the hell in my Mr. Z's. I forgot about that. I forgot. I forgot. Kevin Miller, you're right. I forgot. Damn. So now you make me have. Now I'm doubting my doubting, if that makes any sense. And Kevin Miller says, Z, the gender war lord guy confirms she knows you, lol. You're right. You're right. And shout out to Gender Warlord wherever you are. He might be secretly listening, or he might have changed his name. Whoever, wherever you are, I hope everything's going well. Yes, for those of you that was asking Z some months ago, yeah, Gender Warlord page no longer exists. We don't know what happened with the brother. Yeah, he went ghost. So hopefully everything is okay. But yeah, you're right. I forgot. Thank you, Kevin Miller, for reminding me. And I still don't even remember exactly how it went. But yeah, I think my name was included in a screenshot, something. But yeah. Thank you, Kevin Miller, because I forgot. I did forget. Yeah. Wow. And once again, GoP, thank you. As I said, y'all, GoP, first person to suggest that Z start his channel, and he pop in every once in a while, with the well wishes, come through with some money, right? Yeah, and shout out to GoP. Um, and I'm glad that I started my channel, right? Not on a ego project or anything like that. I'm glad that I started my channel. I wanted to increase the number of sensible brothers who are, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, who are SYSBM, not SYSBM, sorry, wrong word, who are um damn, what's the term again that what's his name came up with? What's the Z? You just was saying it before. Who are talking about that goddamn slip of my mind. SBE, that's the term I was looking for. SBE, SBE, SBE. There we go. So yeah, no, I am SBE unashamedly, right? For those of you that don't know what SBE stand for, shame, blame, and explain. And Mr. Z, shout out to Mama Z and Daddy Z, definitely Mama Z. Um, Mr. Z is definitely on some shame, blame, and explain, and I will shame, blame, and explain to your ass, right? So yeah, so and I wanted to increase that. I'm with a black woman. I prefer black women. Um, yeah, no, I think me starting my channel was definitely a good thing for me and for other brothers who don't hate black women, just hate black women's behavior. And I want to continue to emphasize the difference between us over here and what they have going on over there. The all the way from the Chrissies to the Kim Fosters. Slight distinction, but not that much difference. Which is antagonize black men, make fun of black men, mock black men, insult black men, different forms of black female effery, but different forms of black women feminism. Although I wouldn't say that Kim Foster would call herself that, but yeah, not Kim Foster. I'm sorry, Chrissy would call herself that, but yes, in the real talk with Yannies and whatnot, and yeah. So I'm glad that I started my channel, and once again, thank you, Gold Professor, for the suggestion, and here we are, right? Here we are, and actually, you said something, Vince. And Vince says Z saved me. Oh, highlight again. And Vince says Z saved me from suffering a terrible relationship. You saved me from struggle love. Well, you would have been the one struggling to keep the love, right? You would have been the one. And here's the thing: you would have been excuse me, for granted. Enjoy your single season, brother, and enjoy it. And when you meet that woman, probably a black woman, but maybe not, you will more appreciate her, and through her journey she will probably more appreciate you, right? But yeah, the struggle love thing, you gotta struggle in love. Shout out to all the black women who think you're not. White women aren't told to settle. Shut up. And quite frankly, yes they are. If you don't believe me, go ask JD Vance, right? Just saying. And Toy says, we're glad you're here, Z. Thank you, Toy. Thank you. Right? And Better You says, FD and Kim, go ahead and hit that button in Apu's voice. Thank you. Come again. Thank you. Come again. Right? The bell when the door opens at the Quickie Mart. Oh man. Oh, okay. And Leon says YouTube got him out of here talking about gender war lore. That bull crap, his clips were great. Yeah, that's bull crap. His clips were great. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And Saint Sear says, you got Diglett shook Z. Better you, I hate you for this. Now you got Saint Cyr calling her Diglett. Oh, hysterical. Hysterical. And once again, Gold P, thank you for the super chat and thank you for the super sticker. Thank you for the super sticker, Gold P. Thank you for the super sticker. And Southern Purchases, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Off topic, Z. What's a good meat and three restaurant in Miami? I'll be there over the weekend. Huh. I don't know if y'all have Morton's in other places. Well, that's steak. Um, Salt Bay's restaurant is down here, but it's super expensive. It's off of Brickell. Salt Bay. It's listen. Southern Purchase. Me and my look, man. I didn't have it. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Mr. Z, you want to talk about struggle love, Vince? Mr. Z was looking at his wallet and looking at that menu, and Miss Z was looking, and we both were like, yeah. Hey, I'm not even gonna look. Other people pretend like they got it all together financially. Mr. Z is okay-ish financially, but not okay-ish to eat at Salt Bay restaurant. The cheapest things on the menu. Listen, the cheapest things were like $60. Cheapest, and it just skyrocketed from there. $200 and something steak, $1,700 steak. I'm not joking. So yeah. Hey, the ambiance and the scenery is okay, but yeah. And St. Cyr says, I heard Salt Bay's restaurant was high key overrated. Eh, Vince says get the hard drives, right? Yeah. And Vince been telling me that because you never know. Look, and thank you, Vince, because you actually reminded me of something I said earlier on previous streams. Yes, Kamala didn't win. Miss Kamala didn't win her presidency bid. That does not mean that the left doesn't have any power and that they can't come after us. There's going to be a bunch of post-election um, coverage and what went wrong and who did it. And you better believe, and you already see it on the fringes now, there's going to be a bunch of manosphere / black manosphere critique, red pill critique, and yeah, I think they're going to try to flex. They're going to try to flex on us. They're going to try to flex on us, right? So yeah. So hey, you think that's something? Better use his the full $200 steak. Did the cow-ish gold? Um, there is a $1,700. Was it gold plated steak or gold wrapped steak? Me and Miss Z saw on the menu. Was it 1,700 or 17,000? I want to say it's $1,700. Yeah, no lie. At Salt Bay's restaurant, I am not joking. Y'all heard right. It was either 17. It may not have been 17,000, but it was $1,700 gold wrapped steak. I'm not joking. Yeah, somebody sent me the link, and thank you for reminding me about it. Saint Cyr, I actually have to go back and yeah. And Saint Cyr says, speaking of Black Manosphere, did you see NPR wrote an article on it October 30th? Yeah, yeah. Somebody sent it to me. I have to go back and actually review it. Right. I actually have to go back and review it. So yeah, I mean the chain restaurants to go to what you're saying. Southern Purchase. There's there's some Jamaican restaurants, hole in the walls down here that are really good. Haitian restaurants. We call our spinach legume in Creole. So yeah, griot fried pork pieces that are really dope. There's some really dope, like I said, Jamaican restaurants in the Tri-County area. Tally's, which does like jerk chicken, pork, fish, um, grilled jerk chicken, pork, fish, and ribs, which is in Broward. Um, there's Chef Creole. They have a couple of locations. If you're in Wynwood, there's some dope restaurants in Wynwood. Little Haiti, once again. Miramar, which is in Broward, has dope Jamaican restaurants. Um, Kunk, because there's a lot of Bahamians in South Florida. Um, that's something that you'll see, fried conch and whatnot. Um, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff down here that I think you would enjoy when it comes to food. Yeah, right. Yeah, and oh yeah, and homemade style Jamaican patties, homemade style Haitian patties, homemade style. Um, I think is it the Cuban patties or is it Puerto Rican? I want to say Cuban. But theirs usually have like this kind of sweet glaze on top of the flakes, right? So yeah, that's good. Yeah, yeah, it's so much. Yeah, Miami is a different spot, right? Yeah. So yeah. Um, and once again, thank you for the super chat, Southern Purchase KMS. Once again, thank you for that super chat earlier. And Leon, yeah, we read that. And thank you for that super chat, Leon, earlier. And Prodigy says, and thank you for that super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Prodigy says, I voted third party, but I'm so glad Harris lost. Look, either way, I was mentally preparing for the ish show. Um, I was leaning more and more towards her losing. Um, so yeah, there's good and bad that would have came from either one of them losing or winning. I don't see any one of these candidates, or well, when they were candidates, as being any friend to black people, black men in specific. As I said, I do think if what I'm reading for JD Vance, because I really got to preface my statement here, if what I'm reading from Trump and JD Vance is correct, I do think they push for a white male rulership that will make space for nuclear families and put white men in a position to, have these families and fund these families. And that will leave enough space, maybe possibly, for certain rightly situated, not politically right, but rightly situated black men to take advantage of the space allotted, not because JD Vance is necessarily looking out for black men, but because he's looking out for working class, working poor, and lower middle class white men, which is the space that the majority of black men occupy. That black men will be able to take advantage of these maybe programs, um, or whatever financial situation these men find themselves in. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So let's see if what I think could happen will happen. That remains to be seen. We have 4 years, potentially 8 to 12 years, to see how this plays out. We'll see, right? And Global Free Agent says, yes, exactly. It's a class of men, not color. This is what I'm saying, JD Vance. I said JD Vance. This is what I'm saying, Global Free Agent. I think with JD Vance, it's still white. It's still race. Don't get it twisted. But because I think he's trying to attempt to help a certain class of white men, that black men will be able to benefit from that because of the crumbs that's going to fall off the table and because of your class position. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's still not all white. Oh no, it's all white. Don't get it twisted. Let me put this on the books now. I don't care who I offend, conservative brothers with this, even liberal or centrist brothers. JD Vance to me is lightweight white nationalist. There's an argument to be made. What president wasn't white nationalist? I hear you. I hear you. But JD Vance to me, lightweight, is a white nationalist. But because I think he has a class critique that I might, in certain ways, agree with, I think he's going to attempt to, once again, from what I can see, help um, bolster white folks getting married in the lower classes and caste of America. And I think there's black men that are going to be able to benefit from that. So that's what I'm saying. So yeah, but I still think it's all white. Don't get it twisted. right? It's just the elite white guy because he comes from those humble beginnings. Once again, white humble beginnings. I think he's going to potentially try to look out for those folks. And then there's black people that are going to be able, black men, and then the black women that are attached to us that are going to be able to benefit from that. So yeah. Yeah, Ishmael. Yep. And Ishmael says, I can see a red run for the next 8 years. Z. Well, let's read that over because Mr. Z read that way wrong. I can see a red run for the next 8 years. Z. Dims have a lot of work to do. I agree. I just hope they don't take the wrong lesson from this because they they could take the wrong lesson from this. But of course, so that's what I'm saying. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. All right, y'all. Look, we had 2.5 hours. Goddamn. And Telescope says Z is saying any benefits to black men will be incidental, not intentional. Exactly, Telescope. Thank you for smoothing. That's another reason why I like my channel. Y'all be smoothing out Mr. Z's edges because sometimes I could have said it in 2 and 3 words, just like Telescope did. And I'm trying to find the words, and y'all smooth out the edges. Trail does it all the time. Better you, Indigo, yeah, a bunch of y'all, yeah. A bunch of y'all do it, right? Namer, right? Yeah. So thank you, Telescope. That's what I was trying to say. Exactly. Let's read that one more again. And Telescope says Z is saying any benefits to black men will be incidental, not intentional. Exactly. Exactly. Which we still could benefit from. So yes, right? I'm thinking, not that I'm feeling, but based off of what I've seen and heard from JD Vance. Remember, Mr. Z did not watch the movie Hillbill Elegy yet or read the book. But I did watch a bunch of interviews and I got breakdowns of the book. I watched the little YouTube things about his book and stuff like that. So based off of not watch, but I was listening to because Z and work. But yeah, based off of what I can glean from JD Vance, that's what I think he's about. Let's see if I'm right or not, right? And if I'm right, it's going to be really difficult for the Democrats to come back from a if 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 JD Vance can push through initiatives that almost immediately people, working class men, can feel, and then the women that are attached to them, whether that be sisters, mothers, girlfriends, wives, and their children can feel the Dems. Oh, that's going to be really difficult for them to fight against. That's going to be difficult. And it will help to solidify this kind of political shift that everyone's kind of experiencing right now, right? That's going to be because if the Republicans become the party of the working class, oh, hold on to your hats. Hold on to your hats. If the Dems let the Republicans become, because I want them to fight for working class folks. I want the Dems and the Republicans to be in a street fight over appealing to and doing right by working class, lower middle class, working poor folks. In Mr. Z's ideal world, that's what it would be about. Not to say that upper middle class and rich don't aren't going to lobby them, but those people are good. They're usually good, right? And we already know how they operate, so they're going to be okay. But if the left allows for this to continue, and not just in rhetoric, but if with the leadership of JD Vance and Trump, they make a hard push to not just appeal to, but actually do right by working class folks, working class men, and then that benefits, once again, like Telescope said, incidentally, working class black men. Okay, it's a wrap. It'll be a wrap because that means the left would have to outbid them for those men, and it's possible. Let's see though. Let's see. That's what I'm saying, right? So on that note, y'all, we had 2.5 hours. We ain't gonna keep y'all here too long. And plus, I think the Roger Report is streaming, and Dr. Thunder might still be streaming. So we'll pause right here. Truly, everyone, thank y'all for coming through. Like I said, this is my assessment of the crash out, the left black bread tube or excuse me, cornbread tube, the crash out. Look, it's not the end of the world. Y'all have to regroup. Y'all have to organize. Y'all have to actually forward things to people in neon lights, right? With your chest. Forward things to people that they actually want. And yes, I would say to Ole, yes, um, a good segment of the country just told y'all to shut the hell up forever. They don't really mean the forever part, but you got to appeal to them. That's all it is, right? You have to appeal to them. And that means the men too. And shout out to Ole. Ole isn't necessarily the most antagonistic to black men. I'll give her that. And I'm not just giving it that. I'm not just saying that. I'll give her that because no, she really isn't. I have different critique of Ole, but when it comes to the black man thing, for 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 what it is and the side of the political aisle she occupies, she's not the worst. And that's saying a lot, by the way. Passport OG, you see what I'm saying? And Passport OG says, call Bernie and take some notes. I'm saying, right? So yeah, and Global Free Angel says, great stream. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Right? Yeah. They just and remember, let's end out on this. Culture is downstream from politics. Y'all gotta get a handle on these weirdos online. If you think you're gonna come after the black manosphere and that's gonna solve your problems, it's not. Let's say y'all can obliterate the black manosphere, get all of us deplatformed, even get the white guys deplatformed. All you did was have people seethe in anger without the outlets. That does not mean you change their mind. That does not mean you have them go quietly in the night. You might actually make the issue worse. So you could attempt to get these people deplatformed or whatever. That's not changing this. So that's what I would say to the left. I know y'all are gonna critique and go over what happened, your post-election, numbers and the young men that are falling off or voting to the right, and yeah, particularly the young white men. Y'all have some soul searching to do. And on that note, y'all, we will pause right there. Right, and let's actually read this from Toy real quick. And Toy says, "Good luck with how that manifests in real life." And on that note, y'all, we will pause right there. Shout out to Toya. We'll pause right there. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content. There's a number of brothers that are streaming right now or should be. Um, Shout out to me, Mr. Z. Pat myself on the back for usually being the early morning stream, then Dr. Thunder, et cetera, et cetera. I would say Rogish, but Rogish be streaming whenever he can. And so sometimes it's early morning, late night, whenever. So yeah, we'll pause right here, truly, y'all. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Go touch some grass. It's about to be the weekend. Y'all go enjoy your families. All right, Mr. Z out. And to Lee, I mean to Lion. I should be streaming tomorrow. Should be. You never know. All right, y'all. Mr. Z out.